Hi, Christina. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Enjoying the weather. It's warm out here right now.
Oh, that's great. I'm just waiting for Shane to get in, and I'm going to add a few more people in. You guys can say hi. We're live right now. All right. Hi, Michael. And Shane. Hi.
Hello.
All right. Everybody want you to introduce yourself. My name is Elizabeth, and I'm with Unify the People, and we're here tonight, and we are going to be answering some questions. We had a meeting on Sunday, our interim document administration meeting, and we had some questions asked, and I'd like to address all those questions tonight. If anybody would like to ask anything more once we have completed those questions, or you have more concerns, please just write in the comments, and we will keep an eye on it and try and answer them to the best we can. All right. Anyways, I guess, Shane, you can go ahead if you want.
Absolutely. Well, I'll introduce myself first. I'm Shane Sweeney. I am from Newfoundland. I've been helping out as often as I can with the Alberta team, and I've been helping you, Elizabeth, administrate these Sunday meetings. And yeah, we've got some questions that were excellent questions asked in our last Sunday meeting, and we're just going to go over them now. I've got them here for us. What I have done is I've arranged the questions into 3 different sections so that we can kind of tackle them as groups there. So questions that came in regarding finance and just general money, currency, that would... The first one was, what happens to an existing mortgage? So that's a question for a lot of people have that kind of stuff on their mind. I myself am looking at buying a house. So I enter into a mortgage with a bank. What happens when we declare our sovereignty, we declare our independence, and we have a constitutional republic running? What happens to my mortgage?
Okay. All right. So what's going to happen then is when we have our declaration, we go in and we declare our declaration and we seat our interim administration. And during that intern time, that is when we will be addressing all of our dealings with the Treasury Fund that we will be setting up. Okay. Everything will probably continue on until we get that set up. Once that is set up, there will be no more mortgages. Okay. So the mortgages you have now, because we have to also take control of the banks at that time too. So we are not having any of the normal banks. So what's going to happen is those debts will be no more. Okay. So, but we have to do this in a transition time. All right. It's going to take some time. First off, what we want to do within the 90 days is be able to ratify our Constitution, get it up and ratify it for all the people to see it, get our Treasury Fund working. If there's no transition time with the de facto government of Alberta, we are going to just basically print off our own currency and start our infrastructure that way. So yes, your mortgages will be no more, but it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. All right? Because we won't have banks. We're going to have what we call monetary distribution centers. And those monetary distribution centers will be affiliated with our Treasury Fund. Okay?
Sure. So I guess a follow-up question, you probably touched on it, but I'll just elaborate on it a bit. A follow-up question to that would be like, is there a chance of me losing my home? Or is there a chance of, say, that bank coming after me in the form of a lawsuit in that? No. So those were the follow-up questions to that.
Okay. No, you won't lose your home. If you don't continue those payments, you do not lose your home. Okay? Because everything with those banks is it's all unlawful. Okay? They were not ever allowed to do that to us. So no, they cannot come in and take your property. That will be protected. And actually, by natural law, that will be protected. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. Anything else you want to ask me? Shane? Oh, he's gone. I guess he got kicked out. So anyway, anyone worried about that? You don't have to worry about that at all. You will not lose your home. You will not lose your, sorry about that, Shane, I lost you. So
I lost my connection here, but I could still hear you, so it's all good. Yeah, I heard everything you said.
all right, I got it, so anyways, no, you're not going to lose your home, so don't even worry about that. You will still have the title to your home. You will still own your home. You will own the property. You have that house that is yours, okay? That comes with your sovereign unalienable rights.
Perfect.
All right.
So
Okay.
I guess sticking with the finances, what about my savings? Because I've heard of a central monetary distribution centers. Are they going to be distributing Canadian dollars, or are we looking at something different here?
It's going to be different. All right. So you will have those Canadian, I call it fiat currency right now. All right. All that currency you have in your bank accounts, you've saved it up, whatever you have, the Treasury Fund will reimburse that. Okay. What's going to happen is, because we're going to be, they're not going to work with us. I know that already. They're not going to work with us, but we will give them that opportunity to work with us and have a slow transition. But knowing them, they're not going to want to do that. So we're going to be having to print off our currency right off the bat, and then this will be distributed out to all the sovereigns. All right. So we will replace what you have. That will be replaced with the currency. All right. So you'll never ever be at a loss without that. We do not want everybody panicking and saying, oh, I can't buy anything. No, you will have the currency replaced by our own Republic of Alberta currency. Okay. So no one has to worry about that. And plus, what we would like to do, if feasible at that time, is have every region have an infrastructure amount from the Treasury Fund to get the stimulus going, like get the economy going again, get people working again, right? Get projects going. That whole thing is going to be all for our infrastructure. All right. So does that answer your question?
It does. It does. How about a follow up to that? What about my bank account? I've got a bank account with TD Bank right now, or RBC, whatever it may be. So what happens? Do I have to forfeit my bank account because we're not going to have banks in Alberta, or how does that work?
Okay, now again, that is going to be a transition time too, because when we close those banks down, all right, that money in your bank, you will have a statement for, right? Right? You will be able to have a statement for that bank account. So
absolutely.
Then what you do is you will then open up an account in a monetary distribution center. And whatever you had there, we will replace within your own bank account in the monetary distribution center. All right. So there will be no losses. All right. All of that is going to take place. And we would like to have it so that every region, because in every county, there's going to be a monetary distribution center. All right. Then there'll be a main one in the region of the capital city of that region. All right. So the money from the Treasury Fund will go to the main region bank, or I should say distribution center, and that distribution center will then distribute it out to all the counties, is how it will work. Okay? So that everybody will have that opportunity to take what they have in those banks. You have to prove you have that, though, okay? Keep your statements so that you can prove, yes, I have this. This is what I need. This is what I need replaced. Okay. And that's how it will work. Okay. And that's where the monetary committee will come in. That's where our Treasury Fund committee will come in. That's where all of our, we have what we call auditors will be looking at this too. They will be working with all of our financing. All right. So that, and our nation administrators also will be working with the regional administrators, and it all works down with the county administrators. They'll all be in sync with this, okay? That's why I'm looking for,
that sounds pretty transparent.
yes, it's going to be very transparent, very transparent. So everyone will know what's happening, okay? That during this transition time, our media committee will be taking over all of our radio, our televisions, newspapers, okay? They will be basically saying, okay, this is what we need to put out. We're going to be educating everyone on the Constitution. So everyone will understand that. We'll be educating everybody on natural law, natural sovereign law, so that every day you'll be hearing this and every day being educated on it. So everything that happened will be advertised on your television, your radio, and newspaper. There will be nothing hidden. All the sovereigns will know every step the nation administrators are making, the Treasury branch is making. Every committee is in transparency to the sovereigns. They will know.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, we're going to stick kind of with money and with business here, and because I've been privy to the discussions in our room. We've talked about in our sessions on Sunday evenings. We've talked about corporations.
Yes.
And a lack thereof in the Republic. So I have a business, and it's not a big business. It's a business I own, but I've incorporated for whatever purposes. So what happens to my business now that I'm a corporation?
Well, in the Republic of Alberta, there will be no corporations. You will have businesses, but no corporations. The businesses you will have will be basically owned by you. As you said, you have this business. We'll use a construction company, for example, right? You have this construction company. You've had this company for many years in Alberta, and you would like to keep it that way. But it will no longer be a corporation or limited, all right? You will own that. What that changes is this. Everyone who owns a business is now accountable. They are personally accountable, all right? So you can still run your business. You can still contract with others for that business. For instance, if you are in the construction and you want to build, let's say, for instance, the co-op stores that we plan to build, and you want the contract to build those co-op stores, all right? So that the locals can be using the store themselves, right? So you would then go to the county administrators of that county to build that store, and you would negotiate a contract for that, and it would be between you and the administrators. Now what happens there, it just doesn't stop right there. The administrators don't have the last say. What happens then is they will take all of that information and the contract, the final, just like the whole paperwork, and they would send it down to the Sovereign Committee. The Sovereign Committee then sends it out to all the sovereigns in that county, and it is displayed through the newspaper, the television, the radio of what is being built, who is building it, and what the contract is. The sovereigns then come in and say yes. They vote on it. They come into their sovereign, they have a little place, a Sovereign Committee will set up a place for every county to come into, and they will vote. Yes, we want this to happen. No, we do not. Or we want more information. There are going to be choices there. So if they want more information, say the price, can we renegotiate the price on it, the contract price? Then it goes back to the Sovereign Committee. The Sovereign Committee takes it to the administrators, and the administrators then goes to your company and says, well, you know, the sovereigns say that they're thinking maybe you can do it for a better price. Can we renegotiate? And they say, okay, well, this is what they can renegotiate. It goes back again to the sovereigns, and the sovereigns then say, oh, yeah, we're all for it. Let's go for it. Okay? And then they vote yes. It goes back to the county administrators. There you go. You've got your contract to build.
So
but what happens? go. I'll just add one more thing there, Shane, and that
Yep.
is that you're building this store. Okay, you're doing the whole construction for it, and there is a complaint against you. Okay, let's say something happens or whatever. There's something that someone's not happy about, or let's just say that something gets frauded. Okay, something just doesn't work out right, and whatever, and people think they're just going to shove it under the rug like they normally do now. They just shove it aside and nobody addresses it, right? Well, in this case, that doesn't happen. Anything that's like that, you are accountable for. So yes, you are accountable for your employees' actions. Now, you may not have to pay for their actions, but yes, you are accountable as a business owner for everything that happens in that business. You no longer can hide under the entity of a corporation.
Yes.
You
So
are-
that's what I really wanted to nail home was
Yeah.
if you own a business that's transitioned into, say, a limited liability corporation or a zero liability corporation, you would be losing that status of corporation, but you would not be losing the entity, the business, or ownership of that. It's just the status of corporation that we're talking about.
Yes, yes. You no longer can hide behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. So,
Okay.
so you're not going okay, and you still get to possess the business that that doesn't get taken from you either.
No.
So that
Oh,
kind of covers a lot of it.
No. We want you to have capitalism, definitely. Okay,
Yes.
we want people to work like that and work ahead and work at these things. It's good for us to do that. It helps our esteem. Yeah, very
So
much so.
it's about fostering an environment that people could all do business in instead of okay.
Yes, we want people to learn to contract to each other.
Yes.
Okay.
There's no need for the state to be involved in a contract between a business and somebody who's purchasing or anything of that sort. The state doesn't need to be involved.
Yeah, like I'm talking about contracting is more of if you are building something and it involves more than just you and another person. Do you understand what I mean by that? Yes. If
Absolutely.
It involves the whole community, you're going to have to go to the community to get permission to do that.
Yes.
You can't just go do it. If you plan to build in your backyard a pool, well, that just involves you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It's your property. You're building the pool. You want to build it, you go right ahead. It's your property, right? As long as you're not harming anybody or frauding anybody, or deliberately hurting someone, that's none of my business, right?
So the last kind of question that's touching on what you're saying there.
Okay, go ahead.
Can I still? So I've lost my limited liability status, but I'm still owning and operating my business. It's just the status. How can I still do business with other provinces who maybe, let's say, haven't gone republic, are still operating in the de facto system? Because I can see a world where two sovereign republics can easily do business. But what about me doing business now with Manitoba, who still hasn't declared their independence and still operates under de facto Canada?
Okay, now that's going to be a little bit more challenging, all right, because we want those businesses to continue outside of our provinces. But now we're going to be negotiating with not a sovereign nation if they haven't decided to go sovereign. That's going to be the hard part, because in our Constitution, we have said we will only trade with sovereign nations. All right. So that is going to have to go through the nation administrators. All right. To see what we can actually contract with. Now, let's say you have, say you want to go and build a place in Manitoba, right? Let's say you want to go to Winnipeg, and you you found out that they're building some kind of say an office building, whatever, a construction thing, right? And you want to be involved and you want to bid and take part in that. But Manitoba is still in the fiat system. They've decided not to go sovereign. All right. They decided to stay with the de facto United Nations. All right. They don't want any part. That is where the nation administrators would have to go to you as a business owner and say, this is what you'll be dealing with. Are you sure you want to partake? We aren't going to tell you to stop. That's not our business to do that. But we are going to give you the choices to make.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this, if you go there and you take the sovereigns from Alberta into a de facto system and anything happens to them there, you are accountable for that. Okay? That's how it would work.
Yeah. Okay.
Just got to remember all those things, right? Yeah.
So it's almost like you have to be responsible for your actions.
Very much so. Very much so. That's what accountability is all about.
Yeah. So
yes.
we've got one more section to touch on. It's loosely based on, say, immigration or the status of sovereignty, I guess, depending on how you're looking at it. But there's about 4 questions, it seems. So expats returning to the Republic. So I was born and raised in Alberta, but I have since moved on, and I don't own property in Alberta anymore. But I was born and raised there. How does it work with me wanting to come home after the declaration?
After the declaration?
Yeah, because beforehand, I guess it wouldn't matter. I could sneak in before, any declaration gets made. But if you're a sovereign constitutional Republic of Alberta, and then I want to come home now, how does that work for me?
Okay, let me explain this. When we go make our declaration, in that declaration, we announce to all Albertans that have left because of work situation, because of life situations, we are inviting them all back. And they will have that opportunity to come back. All right? At that moment, we'll make it a public announcement or whatever you would like. And we're inviting all Albertans back. Okay, so let's say you never heard that declaration and you never heard it, okay? It didn't reach your ears and you still want to come back, right? So what we would do then is when you would actually come into our borders and you would go to our immigration, all right? IRB, our immigration board, and we would then vet you. All right. We would find out exactly where you're coming from, and if you can say, well, I was born here, and you do have proof that you were born in this sovereign nation, right? You were born there. And that is how it's going to work. We will allow you back in. But if you've been out for, let's say, we've been sovereign for, say, a year, and you decide you're going to have to go through the immigration board. You're going to have to take a sovereignty test, and that's how it will go.
So can you touch on what that process looks like? Let's say that's basically the next question.
Okay.
I'm not born in Alberta, but let's take it a step further. I'm born in India.
Oh,
but I immigrated legally, to de facto Canada and took up residence in Alberta and am living there. But I'm not maybe a full status, you know what I mean? Like I might not have full Canadian citizenship. How does my status in the Republic when you guys declare? Am I in jeopardy of having to leave?
You will be, actually, because you aren't actually you weren't born on that sovereign land.
Yeah.
Right? So yes, you will be vetted. And if you are not born from that sovereign land and yet you don't even have any kind of declaration to be there, yeah, you will be escorted out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, if I have achieved my Canadian citizenship by this point, does that change anything, or does the de facto Canadian citizenship not really
We are
mean
going
anything?
to, if you've gotten your Canadian citizenship, then yeah, we would honor that. Of course, you're going to honor that because you've gone through the whole thing to get to where you are, right? And you are now in that sovereign nation, working in that nation. And yes, and you would like to stay in that nation and honor the Constitution. We are all equal under the Constitution. We're all sovereign. So
And how could you show someone that you wanted to honor that Constitution?
how could I show them? By accepting them.
And is there a way for me to pledge my fidelity to the Constitution?
Yes, we call it an affirmation. Okay, anyone, we would like all to actually do the affirmation. If you are going to be working in any type of administration, if you are a peace officer, if you're a sheriff, all of you will take this affirmation. When you go to sign the affirmation of the Constitution, it's right there. And you have to read it off. And you are affirming that you are going to stand by the Constitution. You are going to stand by the natural sovereign laws of the land. And yes, you are affirming this. And yes, you will be required to take that. Okay, that proves to me that you really want this.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And it will prove to all the sovereigns you really want this. Yeah.
And that's what you want. You want to be proving to the people that you want to be accepted by.
I'm just trying to think of, just a second, see if I can find it. Just a minute. I wanted to see if I can find the affirmation. You know, the one that we always say?
Yeah.
Yeah, just a second. Let me see if I can find it. And I'll read it off. Because I have the Constitution right here. I did print it off. But I'll tell everybody now, when we do our declaration and we seat our interim administration, we are going to be locking down the borders for 5 years.
Yeah.
All right. We will not. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say I do have the affirmation pulled up on the screen here in case you don't have it handy.
I don't have it. I can't find it right off the bat here, so.
So I do solemnly promise and declare that I will maintain the Constitution of the Republic of Alberta and uphold its natural sovereign laws and the laws of the land, that I will fulfill my duties faithfully and in accordance with the Constitution and the natural sovereign laws, and that my aspirations and capabilities will also be to the service and welfare of the sovereigns of the Republic of Alberta, as well as to my immediate self and family.
Awesome. That is exactly what is going to be required. Yes. And everyone will be required to say those words.
Yeah, I think that's something we should all start practicing.
Yeah.
There is one more question that we did have. I'm not certain that I fully understand it. It has to do with I'm thinking rotational workers perhaps, or maybe I think it's even more long-term working abroad. Where maybe, I think this situation has to do with if you have a spouse who has to take up residence in another province for, say, an 8-month period of the year because they're contracted to be there for that 8 months, and then they come back to just live for 3 months, back in Alberta, and then they go back for 8 months wherever. Does that kind of affect their status if they're married to a sovereign who's home, and they might even have a family, but their work kind of brings them wherever they have to be? Is that jeopardizing their status, or does that kind of put them in any kind of danger? I think that's what the question was touching on.
Yeah, no, it's not going to jeopardize them because they are sovereign, right? And they have made their affirmation to the Republic of Alberta, right? But their job takes them outside of the sovereign nation, right? So the only difference is where they're going to work, and exactly how they're going to get in and out of our borders, which is they'll have to work that out with our border patrol and our immigrations also, because you're going to have special passes going in and out.
Yeah,
All right.
We did get a comment in the chat. It's not really a question, it's more of a comment, but I just wanted to bring it up. It was about when you were talking about the corporation status, that you won't be able to hide behind that anymore. You'll be accountable as a business owner, and you even had some examples, right?
Yes.
Comment came in, as long as you as a business owner can hold employees accountable in the same light, because you wouldn't want to be held with all the liability for somebody else's actions just because you're a business owner.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to kind of highlight that you're not going to be responsible for anyone else. You're responsible for yourself, and you're taken care of. So if your actions harm somebody else, yes, then you're liable. But if you have employees who are, their actions are causing harm, they're the ones that are liable for that.
Yeah, they will be accountable for themselves.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, if they're causing harm and try to hide behind the company, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
That is where you as a business owner can call them out and, bring them forth and make them accountable for what they are doing, right?
Yeah.
That could be the responsibility of you as a business owner, especially
Absolutely.
if they're harming. Yes.
I just wanted to highlight that because I didn't want anybody else to get that kind of thought in their head that we were trying to transfer all the liability to the business owner or anything like that.
No. I'm talking the business in one as one. Okay, you have everybody, the business working there is what I was saying that he'd be responsible for, right? So, but the individual who is making trouble for anything or causing someone to be hurt or harmed or in danger, that would be up to the business owner to make that employee accountable for their actions, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So that does bring a wrap to the questions we had. Those were questions from articles 1 to 21, or 1 to 20, sorry, from the Alberta Constitution.
All right. I was just reading here. It says here, so what happens with the franchise and people have, and then also in the corporation provinces? I'm not quite sure what they're asking. Do you see that, Shane?
I don't see that one in the... I don't see it in now. But I do see that Lexi is asking to be let in.
Okay, just hang on. I'll let her in. Hi, Lexi.
Oh, that's Janie you let in.
Oh, Janie got the wrong one? Oh, here we go. Lexi, there you go.
I've been sitting here patiently waiting.
Okay, no worries. I don't really the question in the Facebook it says here, so what happens with a franchise?
I'm just going to ask if we could mute our mics if we're not talking.
Yeah, the feed is really bad.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, yeah, so you...
I'm not sure that your franchise is not going to change. Like your business that you own. Like, for instance, if you had, what kind of franchise? Name a franchise.
Well, I think I have an example for you. So if I'm a franchise owner of a McDonald's.
Okay.
I don't own McDonald's, right? And I don't own the rights to use that as a private business owner. I can only use that as a corporation. So if I own a franchise of McDonald's and we're no longer having corporations, McDonald's won't be here. I won't be able to operate a burger joint called McDonald's serving Big Macs, right? So I think that might be maybe what the question is alluding to, maybe.
Okay, I think what's going to happen there then is that's probably going to become your restaurant. Because there won't be any corporations or anything like that. So all those
so you would have the infrastructure that you've already acquired.
Yes.
And even the employees, if they wanted to stay there, or new ones if you wanted to get them, and you would be able to then use those resources you've acquired to kind of steer it in a different direction.
Exactly. Because there will be no more corporation in there. So it would be a separate business entity. That's all it would be, is your business. Yeah. You would just continue like you've always done. You still hire employees. You still do all those things that you normally do except it's not going to be a franchise.
And you won't be beholden to McDonald's Corporation.
Nobody. It's yours. Like you're just there working a business.
Very
That's how
well.
it works.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
That's how it works. And then if you want to sell it, you can. Like that's up to you as a business owner. We're not going to begrudge that from anybody. You worked all your life to do these kind of things. We're not going to just take that. No. We want people to continue doing this. The sovereigns to advance. We want you to succeed very much.
It's all
No.
about fostering the environment of success. And right
Yes.
now in de facto Canada, we definitely don't have that. So let's get this going.
Yes, I agree. And there's going to be so much infrastructure happening because in every county, all right, we have 14 regions in the Republic of Alberta, all right? And in those regions, we have counties. We have I think it's 72 counties in total. In every county, we will be building a co-op store, which is going to be sovereign run, provided by the community, all fresh food, all fresh vegetables, all fresh meat, everything from that whole community will be in that store. All right.
Yeah.
Then beside that store, we are going to be building greenhouses so we can have fresh stuff year round. We're going to be building solariums so we can have fresh fruit trees, even up north in the Peace River country, in Buffalo, up in the wood buffalo. You're going to be able to have these things. All right.
Yeah.
Yes. So all of that infrastructure is going to be happening in every county. So you have a store going up, you have greenhouses going up, you have solariums going up, you have learning centers. These are going to be our instructional schools as we know them now. We're going to be calling them learning centers. These are all going to be built too. We're going to use, yes, of course, what's already there, right? But we're going to enhance them. We're going to have health centers. In every county, we'll have a health center. Therapeutics in every county, all right? Now, the modern, your medicines today, your pharmaceutical drugs, it's going to take time to wean out those. It's going to take a transition time. So everybody has to be patient with that. But all the therapeutics, I would love everybody to be on the therapeutics and go the natural way. It would be so much nicer for our bodies and everything else. But since we're going to be eating healthier, why not live healthier, right? Why take drugs? So, but anyways, that's just my opinion. So in every county, that's what's going to be happening. All that construction is going to be going on. In every region, you will have a sheriff, and in every counties, you will have peace officers. All right, they will all be helping you. And the sheriff in your region he's the one that is going to protect the Constitution. All right, anybody in the administration, he's the one that's going to be saying, hey, that goes against the Constitution. You can't do that. All right. Sovereigns need to know about that. And he's going to be he's the one that's going to keep them accountable. All right. He's the one, because he'll be working with them all the time. Right. We will also in every region have a courthouse, a natural sovereign law courthouse set up. All right. And in those regions, you will have 12 jurors, which will be hired by the sovereigns, okay? You will hire them yourself, and they will be from that community, from that whole region. And what happens is you get hired on and you serve your term. It's not consecutively. It's for 3 years, but not consecutively, okay? So it would be randomly whenever there's a court case and you may be called to serve on that, all right? That is how it works, all right? And you will be, yes, of course, rewarded for what jobs you are doing. Very, very important. And in every court, there's going to be an adjudicator, all right? And an adjudicator is the person you go to set up your trial, whatever you have a complaint about. someone that you want to bring a complaint against, you go to the adjudicator to set that up. They are the ones that set the courts and organize the whole courts. All right? There will be no judges. None. The jurors give the sentence, well, they do the verdict and the sentence. When you are in that courtroom and you are an accuser, let's say, Lexi, you're accusing Shane. Shane is is the wrongdoer, and you're the accuser, you're the defender, okay? And let's say you're in the courtroom and it's come down that Shane here has to do community service for what he has done to you, the wrong he has done to you, and you've proven that he has done this to you. And the juror has says, okay, Shane, you are on community service duty to help Lexi with what you've done to her and the problems you caused her. So you now will be working and helping her out for the next 60 days. Okay? Let's say that. And so what they do is they would hand the verdict and the sentence to the adjudicator. The adjudicator walks over to you, Lexi, hands it to you. You stand up and you face him and say, Shane, you have to work for me for 60 days. What the reason that we decided on that was most people want to face their wrongdoer, and it's kind of like they feel like finally I have a say in what's been going on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's how it is. Oh, my camera just kind of moved off, sorry. So that is how it is. That's how the courts will be run, and you will have those one court in every. Go ahead.
Quick question on that topic. Our safety is going to be at risk as well, though, in case that person really gets really mad, right?
So they would never ever assign someone that would cause you harm. The sheriff always is on the lookout, and the peace officers that are assigned to that courthouse at that time, the sheriff can say to them, now you will take him and make sure that he does what he's supposed to be doing. That's up to the peace officer, right? But the sheriff has control of all of that, right? Oh, gee, that's, is that, I don't know who that. Anyways.
I have another question.
Yeah.
So all these buildings that might be empty, can we take over them free and clear, or do we need to buy them?
Oh, no.
Because there'll be a lot of.
Are you talking like for a learning center?
No, like this, I used in the comments as an example, a TD Bank. What if they pull out of the Republic of Alberta? Now we've got an empty building sitting there. Can we just take it over free and clear?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Perfect.
Yeah, definitely. And we can use it for other things. Yeah, we can use it for other things. No problem at all.
Now, Elizabeth, do we have a guest coming in as well?
Yes, we do.